Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Salams, where you're from. 5 people say salam or a certain number. Come on the live and we'll begin. If you're tuning in later, fast forward a little bit. If it's not live, you don't have to wait for this. And it is Earth Hour around the world. It's not Earth Hour where I'm at, but I like the lights off, so I figured, hey, let's turn it off. Why not? Basira, wa alaikum assalam. Isra, wa alaikum assalam. Samir in Abu Dhabi, always tuning in. Top fan, wa alaikum assalam. Taiba, wa alaikum assalam in Pakistan. Asma, tuning in from home, wa alaikum assalam. Aisha, wa alaikum assalam. Yasin, wa alaikum assalam. Neelam in the UK, wa alaikum assalam. Fartoon in Nairobi, wa alaikum assalam. Shazia. Samira says, I just loved what you said yesterday about variety. Thank you. Alhamdulillah. Right? These are quality. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Please share these videos with your friends and tell them this is quality stuff. I'm not out here telling you guys to wash your hands. Other people can tell you that. That's not my job. But you should wash your hands with soap for at least 20 seconds and make sure it's really sudsy. Alaikum assalam. There were some other people in that moment. Isra Ibrahim, wa alaikum assalam. Red cherries. My husband will find it weird watching you in the dark. Why is that weird? Salam in Michigan, Nadia, wa alaikum assalam. Lubna in Toronto, wa alaikum assalam. Rayhan in Jeddah, wa alaikum assalam. Yasin says, it's time for Maghrib Salah in London. Then what are you doing here, brother? Go pray. Umay Asma, wa alaikum assalam. Zainab in Doha, wa alaikum assalam. Maria Iqbal in Saudi, wa alaikum assalam. Saima Manshi in Michigan, wa alaikum assalam. You need to hit 100 people live and then we'll get started. Share with your friends. Let's get 5 people sharing. Let's get this started. Asma Khalid in Calgary, wa alaikum assalam. Taiba Umar, wa alaikum assalam. Jazakallah khairan. All right, we've passed 100. Al-Mi'raj, Salam fa Mi'raj, Rayyan, Isra, Mahira, wa alaikum assalam. Sumayra, wa alaikum assalam. Jenny, wa alaikum assalam, Vietnam. Isra says, my 9-month-old hears you saying salam and is waving. Assalamu alaikum, 9-year-old. Yeah, we were at 100 live and now we've dropped below 100. Let's pass 100 again. We need 5 people to share. Let's get the number up past 100 and then we'll get started. Hannah White, wa alaikum assalam. Qazi Hussein. Oh man, we dropped. People are getting bored of me saying, hey, we need to share. All right, let's get started. I know, right? People they came in and they're like, nothing's going on. Let's just get out of here. All right. Take 1. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi mawala. Amma ba'd. Good morning, Vietnam. Today, inshallah ta'ala, I got a really cool reminder for you guys. The community huddle. So this is a real thing. I like to read, and a lot of the topics that I read about are sometimes related to science fiction, sometimes, not always. Science fiction and aliens coming to the earth and, the human race coming together and, to fight off to fight off the aliens. I'm sure you've seen stories like that, right? So this is a real thing for me. Whenever I this is my anti-racist train of thought. Whenever I find myself feeling a little feeling a little like, hey, I'm looking down on a group of people or certain people, or there's some thoughts starting to go into my head, this is how I get it out of my head. I say to myself, if an alien species attacked the Earth, and I've been doing this for many years, this is not recent. If an alien species attacked the Earth, as humans, we would all come together and we would all cheer for each other in order to fight off the aliens. We wouldn't care about our colors. We wouldn't care what country. In fact, things like that would bond us together. We'd get so excited because we have a common mission against these aliens. So when I think of somebody, I see somebody, and these are usually people who are racist, and I don't want to be racist back to them. And I'll say to myself, you know what? This is my brother in humanity, my sister in humanity. If there was aliens, we would be on the same side. Well, folks, the aliens have arrived. And I started, the topic for today is this, that I want us all to take a step back and really enjoy and appreciate that the human species has come together. We have unified against the coronavirus. And really appreciate for a moment, when has that ever happened, that the entire world has unified against something? SubhanAllah, in preparing this, I went back over all these amazing verses of the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us again and again and again that you have to be unified. So verses in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا, and unite all of you together on the rope of Allah and do not divide. And you see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's the Prophet ﷺ saying that the ummah is like one body, that when one part of it is hurt, that the whole body spends the night awake and in fever. And so that unity of that we're all together, it's with the ummah, and it should be with the ummah, and should always be our attitude. But now we're seeing before the time, we also experience this in Ramadan, correct? In Ramadan, outside of Ramadan, everybody's busy, everybody's doing their things, everybody's going in different directions. And then Ramadan comes along and the whole ummah is fasting. And how amazing does that feel when we do things in unity, when we do things together, right? That's in Ramadan time. Now here we have unified as a human race. And everybody, whether rich or poor, whatever class, whatever color, whatever language, whatever country, everybody's come together and said, let's do this together. And let's fight this together. And it kind of gives me goosebumps to think of how amazing that attitude is. And unifying, and subhanAllah, I think to myself, there's a lot of problems in the world that need this kind of response. There's a lot of problems in the world that need a human unified response for it to be dealt with. Now, I've given you examples from the Muslim community, which is how we're, as the ummah, we're supposed, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً, verily the believers are brothers. Verily, we're all together, right, as an ummah, but let's make it a little bit larger. And you have to understand, even unity in humanity is still something that is the guidance of our deen. So the Prophet ﷺ, and this is in Hilf al-Fudul, there was a pact that happened before the Prophet ﷺ received revelation in Mecca. A pact against injustice. And the Prophet ﷺ was very impressed by this. And he ﷺ said, I witnessed a pact of justice before receiving revelation. So this was the time before he received revelation, before he became the Prophet ﷺ, when the Quran was revealed. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, if I was called to it now, meaning if I was called to a pact where we would unify, Muslims and non-Muslims, if we would unify together to fight injustice, if I were called to it now in the time of Islam, I would respond and I would accept it. And you know what's beautiful here is that statement, if I were called to it now. Called to it means that the person calling to it, who's organizing it, isn't necessarily Muslim even. Because if it was initiated from the Prophet ﷺ, if it was initiated from the Muslims, that's different. That's a different sentence structure. The Prophet ﷺ said, if I was called to a pact where we would unify in something that would bring benefit to human beings, I would accept it. And that's something amazing in our deen. And so this moment that we're living in is something very beautiful. That's just my short reminder for today. In when this all started, and I know everybody's thinking about these are fears that we have and uncertainties, and I always wanted to step back and say, what can I be thankful for? What's beautiful in this moment? And I think that's the message I want to say here, is that there is a beauty in the human race unifying that you just have to take a moment to embrace and love it, that we're all in this together. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And that's it. We're done. If anybody has any questions, you're welcome to ask from past sessions, or if you just want to chat, if you want to know why the lights are off. Or if you want to leave, you can leave. Sarish says, what is the background of Good Morning Vietnam? Good Morning Vietnam is, it was a radio show during the Vietnam War, and there was a movie made about it, and he used to start off with saying, Good Morning Vietnam. So I thought that would be cool. As there's always these apocalypse movies. There's always somebody doing a radio program during those times. And I'm like, hey man, I'm doing my radio program. So I like to start it off with Good Morning Vietnam. I was going to stop doing it, but I found that it's making people laugh. It's kind of like it's a nice joke to lighten the mood at the beginning. So that's why I do it. Thank you for being so rational about it. Dread Cherry said, can we make dua for non-Muslims? Yeah, you can. Hayes Real, amazing work, mashallah, brother. Nyla says, Assalamu alaikum. And also, if you guys want to post, what kind of topics would you like me to talk about? Sumaira Tour, Assalamu alaikum. You came in late, Sumaira. Inshallah, keep safe in New Jersey. Lubna Ahmed says, what is the situation in Vietnam? Okay, this is a good question. So Maheen, yesterday I was talking about don't feed the birds. And Mahid is saying, I stopped feeding them and they keep coming again. I felt bad. It says if you feed them, more rizq will come. I'm saying we were taught growing up that don't feed the birds because kabutar. Don't feed the kabuters because if you feed them, then they're going to become dependent. That was the speech I gave or the reminder I gave a few days ago. What should you do? Inshallah ta'ala, hope and pray that they find alternative. If you get them really set on feeding them, then they're going to keep coming back again and again and again, and you're going to cause harm to them unless you want to I'm going to feed them for the rest of their life kind of thing. What should you do? I don't know. Qada and Qadar. Mustafa Helmi says Qada and Qadar. I assume that's a topic you would like to hear more about. Jenny Sharif says, can you recommend a fiqh book, Arabic or English or both, that compiles all the different opinions? My question for you is, Jenny, why would you want all the opinions compiled? What is it that you're trying to achieve? And Mi'raj says, Rayan bursts into a big laughter when that Good Morning Vietnam starts. Yes, that's what like I said, I was going to stop the Good Morning Vietnam, but some people are enjoying it, so it's okay. It is what it is. I feel bad for people tuning in now because it's like 15 minutes after I'm done. They're going to go, is that it? Yeah, wait for the replay, bro. The replay. Ober says, Assalamu alaikum from Detroit. Can you talk about how to deal with conspiracy theories from an Islamic perspective? Do you get a lot of conspiracy theories, Ober? Mi'raj says, for people running small businesses, how do they keep themselves and their employees motivated, especially when WFH, what does that stand for, is not possible, like in manufacturing? Jenny says, I'm trying to attain knowledge. As a student of knowledge, I feel we should know all the opinions and not just one. Keep going. Jenny, the reason that I said that why do you want a book that has all the opinions? Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to design an Islamic curriculum for yourself. In other words, you're trying to educate yourself, and so you think that step number one is to hear all the different opinions. All the different opinions about what? Is it like all the books of fiqh, or is it like modern type of issues that you get into arguments with in the community and stuff like that? I don't think that that's like the best start to an Islamic education. When I was in Medina University, at university level, we did study multiple opinions. And what they found is if that's because we were coming from North America and we didn't have a background in Islamic education, we just kind of like dropped in at university level, that learning multiple opinions as your first step into education will only confuse you. It'll confuse you because you don't have a process to filter the different opinions. And so what you'll find is rather than coming to some logical conclusions or having like principles on which opinion to choose, you might find like, oh, this one sounds good or this one feels good. And you start going with instincts rather than having like a set foundation. So I don't know if that's the best way to go about it. There are books like that have, multiple opinions, but I don't know if that's the best way to start. That's just my opinion. There are some thoughts in my mind about, obviously there's the fiqh sunnah style in English. If you can read Arabic, there's lots of books like that, but I don't know. It just ends up becoming like a fifth madhab, basically. Allahu a'lam. For the question about tallest tower, I don't have any opinion about that. All right, folks, I won't keep you too long. I felt bad that my reminder was really short today. I'm trying to keep them short, but what can you do? Inshallah, tune in tomorrow. Same time, same place. We're going to do it at 45. That's 2:45. That's 2:45 p.m. New York. And that is going to be, I believe, 6:45 p.m. London time. Do the calculations for other time zones. That's when we're going to start, because I found that starting at the top of the hour, there's usually a surge in internet activity, and Facebook doesn't work so good at the surge at the top of the hour. But hey, 2:45 p.m. New York time, inshallah ta'ala. Everybody stay safe until we meet again. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.